Hello, BookTube. I have a smallish Thursday mail haul for you here. Small number of books, small packages, small expectations. I don't expect to squeal, although this mail haul does end in a little box. So let's see what we have here. See, because one of the things I love about opening the mail with you is that it's not just about me anymore. Some of you might find these things more appealing than I do. That's wonderful. I like to think of that as all of you here at Hyde Cottage when the mail comes, and we all just gather around and do that. So let's see what this first one is. Okay. All right. Well, the first one is a July book. It is rather small, but it's squarely in my wheelhouse. Squarely something that I absolutely want to read. This is by Guillaume Serena, translated by David Andelman from the French, I assume. Yes? No? Wow. Okay, a very early copy of the book. No idea where it comes from. But it is an impossible dream. Reagan, Gorbachev, and a world without the bomb. And it has an introduction by Mikhail Gorbachev. That's a thin little thing. When Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev sat down in Reykjavik in 1986, George Shultz, the American Secretary of State at the time, said that it was, quote, the poker game with the highest stakes ever played. It was the last time the world had a chance to do anything, to do away entirely with nuclear weapons. This is the behind-the-scenes story of this remarkable summit conference in the remote Icelandic capital. An Impossible Dream is the first exploration of recently available archives of both sides. Top-secret archives of the Kremlin and the personal papers of Mikhail Gorbachev, as well as the archives of Ronald Reagan. These chronicles, personal diaries, and previously classified memoranda are deeply enriched by the personal reminiscences of many of the key players of this era. But above all, the stage is set with a personal and exclusive preface by Gorbachev himself. Okay, well, this is a tiny book on a big subject, and I've read every other book on the subject. It's virtually impossible that anything that has been declassified recently is going to materially alter or deepen this subject. It'll all come down to the author. It'll all come down to what kind of job the author does. Of course, the preface by Gorbachev is interesting in its way, but it's trivial in terms of the rest of the book. This comes out in early July. It's going to be almost impossible for reviewers not to try to hook this to current events. How could that not be? This is an event in which two world leaders, the owners respectively of the two biggest nuclear stockpiles in the world, were working seriously to try to reduce those stockpiles. It was even their dream to eliminate them, since these weapons can't be used except at the detriment of the entire world and the murder of the entire human species. And reviewers in July are going to want to link that to events in the real world, because the Trump administration has submitted a budget. I don't think it has much chance of passing through Congress, but the budget that they have submitted is an appalling dystopian novel in the form of actuarial charts and graphs. It asks for trillions of dollars in revamping and expanding the United States nuclear arsenal at sea, in missile silos, on the battlefield. When an exchange of even one of those payloads from even one of the nuclear triad, just one payload, would be enough to end all human life on Earth, to cause a gray winter that would require new species to come forward and fill the vacuum left by others. It's totally, as people said long before Ronald Reagan started making nuclear weapons his drumbeat, long before that, in the 1960s, people were saying the absolute truth. There are no winners in a nuclear war. The idea that we have a United States president who's wondering why we've never used all these nuclear weapons that we have is just horrifying. And a lot of reviewers are going to be tempted to make that their opening paragraph, maybe make that the thread that runs throughout their review, and that would be a shame. That would downplay the heroism and the vision of this story itself. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I will not do that. When the time comes, I will write about this totally on its own feet. But so that was the first one. Not exactly squeal-worthy, because I've read many books on the subject, and Schultz's own book. is incredible. But certainly, you know, popular history is of interest. I think the main thing that bugs me about it is that it's so short. I would rather it be big. It's a big subject. But, oh, okay, all right. Okay, this is a double. We saw this already. This is a gay novel set in 1984 France by Philippe Besson, called "Lie with Me," translated into English by Molly Ringwald. This is the second copy of "Lie with Me," and it comes out at the end of April. So it's right. I mean, this is on my docket anyway, but now I have a second copy, so it feels like I should. I still don't know what to do on this channel about giveaways. Giveaways feel so strange. They're a staple of the old BookTube. Of the first issue BookTube, where the booktuber would get a book from a publisher for a giveaway, or get a double or whatever, notice a double in their collection, and announce a giveaway and announce that they were going to pick a winner and all of that. And those old style giveaways, I mean, I watched all of those videos, but they strike me now, especially in the light of what we're calling BookTube 2.0, certainly in the light of this channel, they strike me as a little odd. I mean, they are premised on the fact that that booktuber will have almost no direct interaction with their viewers. So there won't be any sense of, well, I should pick the right person for the book, or I feel like I'm shortchanging other people when I do it. The whereas, no, it was I am the entertainer, I am the center of your attention, and you are my audience, and you are a largely undifferentiated horde. And I can't do that on this channel, right? I mean, we're talking to each other all the time. We're emailing each other all the time. You send me presents, for God's sake, and I send you presents. So I don't know how to do giveaways. So I've never done one on this channel. But they always come to my mind because, for instance, this is a duplicate. And one of you will probably be interested in it. So I don't know. I'm not going to use a random number generator or pick somebody out of a hat and say tilf luck for the rest of you. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Certainly, the immediate answer that comes to mind for this problem is that if one of you reads gay fiction and wants to review this, if one of you wants to review this for me, for Open Letters Review, where you are in very good company, your masthead has not only booktubers that you know and like, but also there's Britta Bola, who is a published author of fiction and nonfiction in multiple languages. There's Sam Sachs, writes the Fiction Chronicle for the Wall Street Journal, and there's me. I have published book reviews in many venues, many book reviews. I don't think there's a working book reviewer anywhere in the world who's written more book reviews than I have. That's not a bad company to be in, and that's what Open Letters is. So it's not a bad place to start. If you want to try your hand at reviewing this book, you see it's not long, not intimidating. That's a perfect solution to the giveaway conundrum. I would just mail it to you, strictly under the guidelines of work. So let me know. Sing out in the comments field. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to this next one. Okay, this is a novel by Martin Clark called The Substitution Order. There's a house poised on the edge of a cliff. This comes out in July. And it's a legal thriller. Martin Clark was praised by Entertainment Weekly as our best legal thriller writer. Let's see, what is the plot here? Kevin Moore, once a high-flying Virginia attorney, hits rock bottom after an inexplicably tumultuous summer leaves him disbarred and separated from his wife. Short on cash and looking for work, he lands in the middle of nowhere with a job at Substitution, the world's saddest sandwich shop. His closest confidants are a rambunctious rescue puppy and the 20-year-old computer whiz manning the restaurant counter beside him. He's determined to set his life right again, but the troubles keep coming. When a bizarre, mysterious stranger wanders into the shop armed with a threatening invitation to join a multi-million-dollar scam, Kevin will need every bit of his legal savvy just to stay out of prison. A remarkable tour of the law's tricks and hidden trapdoors, The Substitution Order is both wise and ingenious, a wildly entertaining novel that will keep you guessing and rooting for its tenacious hero until the final page. Okay. All right, great. Fantastic. All right, so a legal thriller of a decidedly different sounding bent. That's good. All right, let's move on to this next one. What is this next one? No Frida Bean destroying the packages. She is moping behind me on the bed. she's very desirous of going outside and screaming at strangers, and I insisted on doing this video before we do that, and she doesn't like that. She doesn't like that at all. My previous prima donna dog, a fat basset hound named Lucy, did not brook having her will interfered with. In Lucy's case, if I had heard her insist that she wants to go out, and then not immediately done that, turned on the camera anyway, Lucy would have headbutted the table to knock the camera down. She would have let loose a fusillade of nuclear farts and would have started growling and her adenoidal barking at me. Frida doesn't like having her will brooked, but with me she will do it. She's just moping. And I'm going to indulge her as soon as this mail haul is done. I'm going to walk her until her little legs fall off as soon as this mail haul is done. Anyway, so let's see. This next one is a fiction debut, which I love. I love fiction debuts. This is due in mid-May, and it is You Will Be Safe Here by Damien Barr. There's a tree behind barbed wire. It's inspired by real events and set in South Africa during the Second Boer War, which ended in 1902. So this is also historical fiction. And also in the 21st century to a brutal wilderness camp for teenage boys. The author spins two immensely vivid and compelling stories woven together by legacies of abuse, redemption, and the strength of the human spirit. In 1901, at the height of the Second Boer War, Sarah Vanderwatt and her 6-year-old son Fred are burned out of Cherry Tree Farm by the British and herded to Bloemfontein concentration camp. They promise the Vanderwatts that they will be safe there. In 2010, 16-year-old Wilhelm is an outsider growing up in Johannesburg. His ma and her new boyfriend, hoping Wilhelm will become the man they want him to be, bring him to New Dawn Safari training camp, which professes to make men into boys. They promise that he will be safe there. Okay, so the parallels are rather heavy-handedly drawn there. A concentration camp and a boys' camp. Okay. I don't think the boys are going to be issued starvation rations under an open sun with no shelter, but we shall see. This novel is a powerful, urgent, revealing a hidden colonial history and a dark contemporary secret. Probing the legacy of violence across time and space and our will to survive, it is starkly relevant as we once again see whole populations of people forced into imprisonment because of their identity. Okay, and the author is very young, and he hosts a literary salon in London, which has been going for 10 years with hundreds of prominent guests. And he wrote a memoir called Maggie and Me, which was the Sunday Times named Memoir of the Year. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of material here with, good Lord. Okay, this You Will Be Safe Here has advanced blurbs from Garth Greenwell, so I assume that Wilhelm is gay. Garth Greenwell doesn't read anything else. It doesn't blurb anything else. And Aminata Forna, Amy Bloom, Jojo Moyes, Maggie O'Farrell. Wow, okay. So that's, and also Patrick Gale. Okay, so there's going to be a gay theme here. I'm assuming that the boys' camp in the latter half of the novel is also some sort of conversion therapy camp or something or other. Wow, okay. Well, all right, so... Oh, okay, well, yeah. All right, so from The Guardian, we're shown the story behind this novel. The headline says that Raymond Byes was 15 when his mother enrolled him in a camp that promised to make men out of boys. 3 months later, he was dead. What happened behind those gates, and was the resurgence of South Africa's far right to blame? So, a conversion camp of some kind or other. Intriguing in its own way. Certainly, I don't think I ever got the advanced copy of this, so I'll read it right away. And then last but not least, the box. We'll do the box, and then we'll be done, and then Frida and I will go on our merry way. She'll perk up as soon as she realizes that she's getting her way. She's far more gentle in her disapproval than Lucy was. Lucy was unstoppable. Frida is a very, very good dog. She just has preferences. I don't begrudge her that. Okay, so this next one is another novel. A paperback release of something that came out in hardcover. Did this come out in hardcover and I just missed it? Well, no, its copyright is 2019, so the pub sheet says now available in paperback. Maybe it came out in paperback, or hardcover in 2019. But anyway, this is due. It's out already in your bookstores. It came out on April 2nd, like everything else in the world. This is On Brassard's Farm by Daniel Hecht. It is a Vermont novel. Let's see here. In a radical departure from her urban life, Anne Turner buys a piece of remote Vermont land and sets up a tent home in the forest. Not a good idea. In an effort to escape an unending string of personal disasters in Boston and a desire to leave behind a world she sees as increasingly defined by consumerism, hypocrisy, and division, she hopes to find a kind of peace in this new life. There will be no peace if you're living in a tent in the Vermont woods in the winter. Instead, there'll be pieces of you all over the place. As she writes in her journal, there's got to be a more honest, less divided way to live. She soon learns that she was mistaken in thinking of kindly Mother Earth would grant her wisdom and serenity in her new home. The forest confronts her with unanticipated dangers, aching loneliness, and harsh weather, instinctive fears, and the wildlife of the sort she's never encountered. It's beautiful, yes, but life in the wild is never easy. When necessity requires her to start work as a farmhand, she quickly discovers that she's held similarly childish delusions about small farms. Under the stern tutelage of Diz Brassard, the farm's 60-year-old matriarch, and the gentle guidance of Ernest Kelly, an Oneida Indian friend of the Brassards, she learns that what hard work really means. Anne faces her predicament with determination, but there's a lot to learn about the Brassard family, about dairy farming, and about herself. Okay, did we already see this? Did I get an advance copy of this? Daniel Hecht is the author of 6 novels published in 12 languages and 74 editions throughout the world. Wow, good for him. And he's with bestsellers in the United States, England, Holland, and Israel. His novels include Skull Session, The Babel Effect, City of Mass, Land of Echoes, and Bones of the Barbary Coast. And he lives in Vermont and teaches at Champlain College. As far as I can tell, this is a paperback original. It's out already in bookstores. I like the feel of it very much. There's no way I can convey it. But this is very heavy for a trade paperback. Very, very stiff in a way that you certainly can't hold it open to read, but it feels indestructible. It feels like it will last a long time, which is great. And it has a blurb on the back from Laurie King, who I love. Okay, great. So a novel set in contemporary Vermont, in which someone sets a tent up in the woods and quickly realizes the error of her ways. Okay, great. So that is our Little Thursday mail haul. No real squealing going on, although certainly lots of interest. There's On Brassard's Farm, a Vermont novel. There's You Will Be Safe Here, which has one foot in the historical past, the Boer Wars, for Pete's sake, and one in the present. There's The Substitution Order, about a formerly high-flying lawyer who ends up at the saddest sub shop in the world. And yet, I have a feeling they're going to end up needing him. Then Lie With Me by Philippe Besson, translated by Molly Ringwald. This is the latest gay novella of the season. And An Impossible Dream by Guillaume Serena, about Reagan and Gorbachev at Reykjavik. An amazing moment in the Reagan administration, an amazing moment in American presidential history. Can't wait to see what the author has to say about it, well, especially since I'm assuming he'll come at it from a non-American viewpoint. That in its own will be fascinating. I think in Finnish copy it will certainly go in my collection, which is a great feeling, because a lot of these books I don't know one way or another. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now. I may get more mail today, you never know. I also might have other fugitive bookish thoughts, which I will instantly share with you. But in the meantime, I will wrap this up and off we go. Thank you, BookTube.